to my channel, Closing the Gap, where we make a conscious effort to meet you where you're at on your healing and your spiritual journey. I hope that you all have had a great week thus far. I'm coming on live. For those who can't make the live, that's fine. You can always watch it later. But I'm coming on to ask you to, those of us who feel helpless about gang stalking, organized harassment, or stalking by proxy, we feel helpless. And even myself, I find myself thinking of things that I probably shouldn't be thinking of in order to protect myself, but that would only get me into more trouble. It would cause me more harm and more pain if I reacted in a way that lacked emotional intelligence. I do have my days where I just want to snap because at the end of the day, I'm a human being, but I'm also an advocate. I've always been an advocate for the underdog. For those who don't know, I have a master's degree in social work. Not that I deal with that 3D stuff anymore, but that's how far I've gone to be an advocate for the underdog. I've been the sharp representative in the military where I was the first responder to personnel who had been sexually assaulted in the military. I even had people specifically request me to be the one to be there for them. I would arrive before even the police would arrive. I've also worked with domestic violence victims in homeless shelters and homeless shelters. I've also worked with domestic violence victims in domestic violence shelters, helping them to get food, shelter, and safety. I have been an advocate my entire life. I usually advocate for things, that I have also been a victim of. I too have been homeless. I too have been a victim of domestic violence. I too have been a victim of sexual assault. I too have been a victim of homelessness. I've been a victim of all the things that I've advocated for, standing up for the underdog because I know what it feels like to be that. Gang stalking will be no different for me. Although the warrior in me wants to go do something that's not quite, wouldn't end well, because I'm so angry that someone has the audacity to invade my privacy, to invade my freedoms, and to imprison me in my own home. And so I've decided the advocate in me came out. I was taking a nap, and I woke up and I was like, I need to advocate for this. And so the advocator in me came out, right? One of the things about taking pictures and things of that sort, if you take a picture of somebody who's doing street theater, like someone who's homeless or someone who's walking down the street blind with a cane or walking down, the street theater, they pretend to be people that are disabled, or they pretend to be people that are homeless, or they hire people that are homeless. Now, I know doggone well there wasn't a blind man walking down the street on my morning route where I walk every sunrise for my exercise, right? And so they do this stupid street theater that if you take pictures of it and you try to gather evidence, or they park a car in front of your house and stuff like that, you just look like the one that's an idiot. Well, the car's just sitting there. Well, somebody's just in the Airbnb. Well, how dare you take pictures of someone who is disabled? How dare you sit in your car and take pictures of people who are homeless? And so they just try to make you look like you're the bad guy. Whole time they're gang stalking you, right? So it is hard to prove, but I'm just the person that would take the challenge in proving it. Yeah. So what I've done is I've created a petition. It's referred to as Help Stop Stalking by Proxy, because I think that is the proper name for it. Help Stop Stalking by Proxy, also known as gang stalking and organized harassment. Yeah. I need 10 signatures. After 10 signatures, they'll let me do things like go on the news. They'll let me do things about like public speak about it publicly. I also plan on doing one-person protest about it. I've done it before. I've done it with Black Lives Matters. I've done it before where I was the only one standing out on the, I was the only one standing out on the road with signs, and I'll do it again. So this is my way of fighting back, and I need signatures. All I need is 5 signatures, yeah? 10 signatures if I can. But what the petition says is Help us stop gang stalking by proxy, also known as gang. Help us stop stalking by proxy, also known as gang stalking and organized harassment. We, the undersigned, call for immediate awareness, investigation, and prevention of stalking by proxy, also known as organized harassment and gang stalking. This form of harassment involves coordinated effects by groups to monitor, intimidate, and psychologically harm targeted persons. It violates fundamental human rights, personal safety, and privacy. We urge policymakers, law enforcement agencies, and community leaders to recognize stalking by proxy as a form of organized harassment and criminal in nature. 2, establish clear reporting and protecting mechanisms for targeted vehicles. 3, allocate resources for public education and protection of targeted individuals. And 4, create laws that deter organized harassment. What makes gang stalking particularly sinister is it is covert in nature. It shares disturbing similarities to historical programs like COINTELPRO, MK Ultra, and Zerzetzung, where the perpetrators employ a no-touch torture and technology where the perpetrators employ no-touch torture and technology infiltration, subjecting individuals to around the clock monitoring and harassment. This calculated assault is designed to cause psychological distress and disorientation, leaving victims feeling helpless and leaving victims feeling isolated and powerless, leading to such life-changing events such as financial strain, homelessness, and in extreme cases, suicide. Furthermore, tech companies must enhance their security measurements to prevent technology infiltration by organized gang stalking. Please join me in urging leaders and policymakers to create change in the protection of victims of stalking by proxy, also known as gang stalking or organized harassment. Sign the petition to stand up for human rights in America and across the globe. We stand united for truth, safety, and dignity. No one should be targeted or terrorized in silence. This petition was created and submitted by Lisa D. Campbell, advocate for personal freedom, privacy, and justice. And then I have my email there. For those who are interested in signing the petition, I know that if you are a victim of gang stalking, I know that gang stalking is very intimidating. It is scary. But I'll tell you what, for me, I will not lay down and just allow this to happen without fighting back. And I know that the laws and legalities and things of that sort are also a part of the gang stalking, but I just can't. My spirit just won't let me sit back and say, oh, I'm a victim of this. Yes, I am. Yes, I have been. But I refuse to not do anything just to stay silent. I don't mind looking crazy. Not at all. And so this is my way of standing up and fighting back. If I can get at least 10 signatures, I don't know what happens after that. I've never created a petition. I've never went this route before. I've always had people behind me, like my job and stuff like that, that were behind me when advocating for sexual assault victims or advocating for domestic violence victims and things of that sort. But I don't think that I have to be in the position of a social worker. I am a human being. I am a person with rights. And yeah, I can stand up for myself without the titles and the letters behind my name. I just need people just like me to just sign the petition. I'm not sure if your name shows up on the petition or anything like that, but all I need is 10 signatures so that I can go forward. I cannot tell you what happens after that. I don't know, but I do know that they will reach out to me and allow me to speak publicly about it. But first, I have to have some type of interest, people that are interested in making it happen. All I need is your signature. I'll do the rest. I will do the rest. Me and my ancestors will do the rest. And I'll do it by myself if I have to, right? So please, if you feel inclined to do so, please sign the petition. Basically, all you're saying is that they need to put laws in place to stop gang stalking, to stop organized harassment, and to stop making it like they have the right, they are justified to say who does and does not deserve this type of punishment. Yeah, we have a court of law for reasons. If you think I deserve to be punished, put me in front of the judge. Exactly. But making my home a prison, making everywhere I go a prison, I'm not going to lay down and let that happen. I'm not going to fall out. And I don't care if I'm homeless. I will still protest. I'll stand on the corner. I'll have a sign saying what's going on, not asking for money. I stand for what I believe in. And I've always fought for the underdog. I will always fight for the underdog until the day of my last breath. I'd rather die fighting than laying in my bed depressed and afraid of what's going to happen next. I'm not doing it. I ask you to join me. Please sign the petition, and I will let you follow me as I go along, as I put myself out on the front lines and look like the crazy one, as I put myself out on the front lines and look like the fool. They want street theater. I'll give them street theater. Right. But I'm protesting on my behalf and on other people's behalf who have been gang stalked, who have been harassed. That's all I have for you today here on Closing the Gap. I'll come back later and make a video on how the narcissist is falling, how the narcissistic collective is collapsing, and how they're not very happy about it, right? It may not look like it empaths, but we're winning. Yes, we are. Thank you for tuning into my channel, Closing the Gap. We make a conscious effort to meet you where you're at on your healing and your spiritual journey. If you like my energy, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment, sign the petition. And if you're really feeling my vibe, don't forget to hit that bell notification so that you know the next time I upload. Thank you for those who have tuned in. And for those who tune in later, thank you for listening. You are very appreciated. Just by listening, liking, and subscribing, it lets me know that I have people behind me, and that's enough to keep me going. I don't care if it's 1 like, 2 likes, or 3,000 likes. I've always been for the underdog, and I always will be. You guys have a good evening, and I'll see you later. I gotta go run some errands before I make the next video. Later.